UK Prime Minister Liz Truss fight for her political stature may end soon, many say. The UK Prime Minister may face an ouster by October 24. As per reports, nearly 100 British members of Parliament of the ruling Conservative Party are slated to submit letters of no confidence in Truss to Graham Brady, who heads party's committee that organizes the leadership contest. On October 2nd, Truss sealed a major U-turn from her central plank of tax cuts, which she withdrew a policy abolishing top rates for the wealthiest. The slash triggered market turmoil, which also gave birth to many rebellions within her party. Truss is reeling under a looming threat of being finished as the UK Prime Minister owing to failure in managing soaring inflation in Britain and the currency hitting a record low. In fact, her regime introduced a mini budget on September 23rd with the aim of imposing cuts on household taxes and energy bills. Following this, traders warned of amplified deaths and said budget did not have the desired effect on the UK economy. The budget was tabled under Truss-appointed Kasi Khartung as UK Finance Minister, the first black to hold the office. However, on Friday, Truss sacked her minister and appointed Jeremy Hunt as her new finance minister, engulfing Britain in a fresh crisis. It may be noted that the UK has recorded the ouster of 3 of its prime ministers since the country voted to exit the European Union in 2016. A report in a tabloid suggests that PMs will urge committee head to inform Truss that her time is up, or she would be directed to change rules to allow an immediate vote of confidence in her leadership. It stated that Brady is resisting Truss ouster, and he has argued that the newly appointed Hunt and Truss deserve a chance to set out economic strategy in a budget on October 31st, the report said. US President Joe Biden has invoked a policy that turns down Venezuelan citizens' chance to seek asylum at United States border. Under the policy, Biden administration will expel any Venezuelan who illegally enters Mexico or Panama to get into America. US President's decision comes at a time when the country is prepared to vote for the midterm election scheduled on November 8. On the other hand, Mexico has insisted that the US admit one Venezuelan on humanitarian parole for each Venezuelan it expels to Mexico, according to a Mexican official who was not authorized to discuss the matter publicly and spoke on condition of anonymity. So if Biden administration paroles 24,000 Venezuelans to US, Mexico would take no more than 24,000 Venezuelans expelled from the US, reports said. Biden's decision finds resemblance to Trump dispensation rule known as Title 42, which exploited emergency public health authority to allow United States to keep migrants at the border based on the need to prevent the spread of COVID-19. However, at least 24,000 Venezuelans would be allowed at the US airports in line with the Ukrainians who were admitted to the country after Russia's invasion. Meanwhile, this new policy has drawn flack from immigrant advocates who pointed out the infirmities in the policy. Sri Lankan author Shahan Karunatilaka won the 2022 Booker Prize for his second novel, The 7 Moons of Mali Almeida. Booker Prize is one of the most prestigious literary awards in the world. 47-year-old Karunatilaka becomes the second Sri Lankan to win the prestigious £50,000 literary prize at a ceremony in London on Monday night after Michael Ondaatje, who won for The English Patient in 1992. 7 Moons of Mali Almeida tells the story of the photographer of its title, who in 1990 wakes up dead in what seems like a celestial visa office. With no idea who killed him, Mali has 7 moons to contact the people he loves most and leads them to a hidden cache of photos of civil war atrocities that will rock Sri Lanka. The chair of 2022 Booker Judges said the judges particularly admired and enjoyed The Seven Moons of Mali Almeida, the ambition of its scope, and the hilarious audacity of its narrative techniques. The novel has been described by judges as a whodunit and a race against time, full of gauze, gags, and deep humanity. Shehan Karunatilaga, who was born in Gale in 1975 and grew up in Colombo, says that Sri Lankans specialize in gallows humor and make jokes in the face of crisis as a coping mechanism. His debut novel from 2011, Chinaman, had won Commonwealth Prize. Booker Prize is awarded annually to a book published in English in the United Kingdom and Ireland. Youth from 70 countries will participate in a global youth climate summit to be inaugurated on Thursday in Khulna, Bangladesh. The 3-day summit between October 20 to 22 will bring together 650 youth in a hybrid format, with 150 youth participating in person and 500 online. The youth will explore how they can lead the fight against climate change. Elaborating the purpose of summit, the CEO of Global Youth Leadership Center, GYLC, which is organizing the program, said that GYLC is being launched as a global organization to mobilize youth, especially from the global south, to tackle the climate crisis. The mission of GYLC is to expand youth knowledge about climate science, equip them with leadership skills to take individual and collective action, and enable them to launch businesses that contribute to climate mitigation or adaptation. The CEO said that Khulna has been chosen as the inaugural venue of GYLC as it is one of the Bangladesh's most climate vulnerable regions. The youth taking part in summit will undertake mangrove plantation in the coastal belt to promote local-led climate adaptation and highlight the importance of mangroves, which are critical for human beings as well as for biodiversity. He said that to empower youth to take climate action, 10 delegates at the summit will receive a grant of 1000 USD each to implement their climate mitigation or adaptation project. Global Youth Climate Summit will bring together renowned climate scientists, policymakers, entrepreneurs, leadership experts, and youth climate activists. Chinese President Xi Jinping hinted at the continuation of country's aggressive foreign policy posture for the next 5 years as he presented his work report at the 20th Party Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, where he is widely expected to be reaffirmed for a third term as the country's leader. Experts said even though Xi did not refer to any individual nations, but he clearly signaled that China is likely to continue a more aggressive foreign policy as he touted China's growing global clout and warned against external attempts to suppress and contain China. Xi put special emphasis on upgrading China's national security and intensifying troops' combat preparedness, urging a strong system of strategic deterrence, which media reports said is a reference to People's Liberation Army's dramatic expansion of its nuclear weapons capacity in the past 2 years. He also said China will increase the proportion of new domain forces with new combat capabilities and promote coordinated development and application of the network information system. China has been vigorously upgrading its capabilities in cyber, information warfare, and space domain in last decade, tenets of which were reflected in Xi's speech. In his speech, he said China will gain a good grasp of characteristics of informatized and intelligent warfare and the laws that govern it. With a new military strategic guidance, China will develop strategies and tactics for a people's war, he added. UK Prime Minister Liz Truss resigned on Thursday after spending just 45 days in office. Her short stint marked the shortest, most chaotic tenure of any British Prime Minister. Her resignation came after a falling out among the ministers in her cabinet over the mini budget policy she introduced. The now reversed policy featured several unfunded tax cuts and would have caused the UK's economy $48 billion worth of taxes. After her short stint, there is just one question on everyone's mind: who will replace her? So far, the potential candidates include ex Finance Minister Rishi Sunak, ex PM Boris Johnson, and former Defense Minister Penny Mordaunt. Announcing her resignation, she said, "I recognize, given the situation, I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected. I have spoken to King Charles to notify him I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party." Liz Truss' resignation means the political turmoil that has been brewing in the UK will see no easy end. Her withdrawal from the top post also stemmed from dissatisfaction among her ministers over her mini budget policy. The policy, which was aimed to break the cycle of stagnation in the British economy, was introduced by former Finance Minister Kasi Kartang on September 23. It included £45 billion in tax cuts, including an income tax reduction for the highest earners. The Sri Lankan parliament on Friday passed an amendment intended to restrict the presidential powers, strengthen anti-corruption measures, and pull off the country from its worst economic crisis. The amendment also invoked the ban on citizens with dual citizenship from contesting an election. The ban was repealed by Rajapaksa in 2020. The amendment was a part of the promise made by the current president Ranil Wickremesinghe when he assumed office following the resignation of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The parliament voted overwhelmingly in support of the constitutional amendment limiting presidential control of the police, judiciary, and appointments to the civil service. Wickremesinghe had promised the citizens to curb unparalleled presidential powers. The island nation was plunged into a deep economic crisis, a fallout of Rajapaksa's reckless policy decisions of cutting down taxes, banning chemical fertilizers, and simmering corruptions. The onset of COVID and Easter bombings had deflated the country's tourism industry massively, hence pushing its economy into a free fall. The country had defaulted on $51 billion in foreign debt in April and is now scrambling to finalize an International Monetary Fund bailout. Mahinda Rajapaksa was forced into exile after an unprecedented protest erupted in the country, with the citizens barging into presidential house. The regional pro-Kremlin administration has asked citizens to move deeper into Russian-held territory, citing a tense situation on the front and threat of shelling and alleged terror attacks by Kiev. Kherson is one of the four Ukrainian territories illegally annexed by Russia through sham referendums held last month. The three other annexed regions are Donetsk, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia. On Friday, Ukrainian forces bombarded Russian positions across the province, inching closer to a full assault of its capital as they targeted pro-Kremlin forces' resupply routes across Dnieper River. The presidential office said in its morning statement that 5 explosive-laden drones were downed in the central region southeast of Kyiv. The western city of Khmelnytsky, which straddles the Bug River and was home to some 275,000 people before the war, was left with no electricity shortly after local media reported several loud explosions. The mayor of Lusk, a city of 215,000 in Ukraine's far west, made a similar appeal on Telegram on Saturday. The power in Lusk had been partially knocked out after Russian missiles slammed into local energy facilities, he said. Pakistan is off the grey list of the Financial Action Task Force FATF after 4 years. The FATF is a global watchdog that was founded to tackle money laundering initially, but its role became prominent post 9/11 terror attacks. Following the attacks, the FATF expanded its operations and included terror financing under its purview. There are currently 39 members of FATF, 37 jurisdictions, and 2 regional organizations, the Gulf Cooperation Council and European Commission. The FATF maintains 2 lists, a black list and a grey list. Countries on its blacklist are those that the watchdog deems non cooperative in the global effort to curb money laundering and terror financing. The grey list are officially referred to as jurisdictions under increased monitoring. 23 countries remain under watch. Among these countries are Philippines, Syria, Yemen, United Arab Emirates, Uganda, Morocco, Jamaica, etc. It constitutes those nations that present significant risk of money laundering and terror financing, but which have committed to work closely with FATF in the development and implementation of action plans that address their deficiencies. If the country is not actively tackling money laundering or terror funding, it is then blacklisted. So far, only 2 countries have been blacklisted. They are Iran and North Korea. Late Hollywood actress and fashion icon Anna May Wong is set to become the first Asian American to feature on US currency. She was born to second generation Chinese immigrants in Los Angeles. Wong started her film career at the age of 14 as an extra in The Red Lantern. She gained critical acclaim only 3 years later when she played the leading role in The Tall of the Sea, one of the first Technicolor films. She was also the first Asian American leading actor in a television show. The American Women Quarters program is a 4 year program that celebrates the accomplishments and contribution made by women to the development and history of USA, beginning in 2022 and continuing through 2025. The US Mint will issue up to 5 new reserve designs each year. The American Women Quarters may feature contributions from a variety of fields: suffrage, civil rights, abolition, government, humanities, space, science, and the arts. The women honored will be from ethnically, racially, and geographically diverse backgrounds.